All right, AGS, welcome to our short week before Thanksgiving break. Remember, today we are doing closure notes and review, and then tomorrow we have the Mod 4 Part 2 quiz. Now, the Part 2 means that it only goes over 4.4 through 4.6. So it's 4.4, 4.5, 4.6, which was largely about inequalities. Remember, inequalities are alligators. The four inequalities we've been dealing with are less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. You guys, remember that any inequality is really showing you a range of numbers or an interval of numbers. X is less than A would be an open circle on A because it doesn't include A, but it's every number right up to A, but less than. So I would shade this direction on a number line. So any number that's less than A, any decimal, any fraction, is going to be part of this solution to X is less than A. X is greater than A is still going to be an open circle, but then you would shade everything greater than A to the right. The or equal to's are very similar, except you have to fill in the circle because X is less than or equal to A can be part of the solution. A is less than or equal to A. So here it would be a completely filled in dot and then moving all the way to the left. So all of these are intervals. They're a range of numbers, every single decimal, every single fraction, all the way up to infinity or negative infinity. We have talked a lot about solving inequalities. Remember that solving inequalities is pretty much the same thing as solving equations. You still do all your normal opposite algebra rules. Like if there's a 2x and you want it on the other side, you have to subtract 2x from both sides. Or, if you want to undo multiplication, you do division. The only thing that you really have to remember is that anytime you divide or multiply, don't like that highlighter. What else? Anytime you're dividing or multiplying by a negative, you have to flip the sign of the inequality. So, if it was negative x is less than 5, you would divide by a negative or multiply by a negative and get x is greater than 5. Like I've been saying before, remember that your answers are not a single answer, but they are like an infinite amount of answers. It's like all the numbers that are greater than or less than or greater than or equal to certain values. There's a couple specialty situations that we talked about. So if you're doing all your algebra and there's a 2x on both sides and you subtract 2x and they go away, if you lose all your variables, if the x's go away, what's left is a true inequality. For instance, here I'll write a true inequality is like -5 is less than 10. That's true, which means your solution would be all real numbers. No matter what number you plug in for x, you will get a true inequality. If you were to get something that is false, like 5 is less than 3, that's not true. 5 is not less than 3. That's a false inequality, which means no solution if it's false. Probably the hardest part of this unit that we did is word problems, real-life applications of inequalities. In general, you guys had to read through like a real-life situation and then come up with an inequality that represents it. This right here is like the hardest thing, well, pretty much in all of math. Like this can be one of the hardest things, reading through a word problem and then coming up with an equation or an inequality that represents that situation. Watch out for words like at least, at most, no more than, less than, not to exceed. There's more, but these are kind of like tip-offs about how you should set up your inequality, because all of those words are going to involve some kind of alligator. Once you set up an equation, like we did in 4.5, if you want to go back and look at some of those, then you just have to solve it using all your inequality solving rules. Just remember, if you ever divide or multiply by a negative, you have to flip the sign. And then you have to interpret your result, like what you found, what it means. Okay, you guys, I think that's it for 4.4, 4.5, 4.6. Good luck tomorrow.